Now for sports stories across the globe, Aaron Akrejola joins us to give us updates. Good morning, Aaron.
Yeah, very good morning to you, Aya. Good morning to you, Doctor. Good morning to you, Rufai. Let's start it off from the Europa League. And Manchester United yesterday witnessed an anticlimax, let's just put it that way, at Old Trafford, as one man, Christian Eriksen, scored the goal for them and also turned out to be the villain because he was almost responsible for the equaliser. And the coach of the side, Erik ten Hag, said his old side maybe wanted it more than Manchester United. If that's an excuse for a draw or a lame draw in the Europa League, is left to be seen. But we'll still be keeping tabs on how things are actually playing out. But in the meantime, moving on to other Europa League matches, let's talk about the fact that our own Bashiru Dele is doing so well right now. A goal and assist for himself as Lazio yesterday actually won. And other results that actually came in saw the likes of AZ Alkmaar getting a very massive win. The biggest shock, Bodo Glimt beating FC Porto. And not forgetting the likes of Nice drawing with Real Sociedad, Ludogorets losing to Spartak Prague. Now, away from that, the Carabao Cup was also played yesterday. And one man, British-born Nigerian, Ethan Nwaneri, 70 years of age, just shone like a million stars. He's only played 3 Premier League games for Arsenal in the last 3 seasons. But yesterday was literally like a massive announcement of himself and one to keep an eye on. There were several young stars on the day that just shone for Mikel Arteta. I must say kudos to them and what they're doing. Let's see if this season is finally the season where they will be able to get the monkey off their back. But let's wait and see. Okay, but in the meantime, the results from the Carabao Cup also saw the likes of Liverpool on the day actually beating. Look, if we start with Manchester United beating Bolton Wanderers 5-1. Then Liverpool on the day. Arsenal, I beg your pardon. Yes. Then Liverpool beating West Ham United 5-1 also with Mohamed Salah, not forgetting Diogo Jota and the likes there. In Europe also, Barcelona against Getafe with Lewandowski scoring his 7th goal of the season in that massive win, keeping the 100% record for Barcelona in the league. Everyone will be keeping an eye on the El Clasico and how things will actually play out there. Away from the Carabao Cup, quickly let's talk about the fact that one lady was being given a royal welcome. Julian Alfred is her name, and she hails from St. Lucia. And she's just returning back for the very first time, going back to her roots. And it was a fanfare. Everyone came out to celebrate that massive win at the Olympics, the gold medal that she was able to clinch. And this is how it should be done. Because St. Lucia is not the biggest island out there, but nevertheless, giving her great recognition there. I must say, kudos to that. And Naomi Osaka, let's turn our attention to tennis. He's actually trying to shake off all the rust and all the misfortune that has actually bedeviled her, as she has decided to partner with Serena Williams' former coach. And this is what she had to say. The fact that he was Serena's coach for me made me want to avoid him just because his persona is so big. Then I met him, I talked to him, worked with him on the court. He's absolutely a really good coach. Whether he can get her back to winning ways is left to be seen. We know he was able to do that. The Greek was able to do that with Serena Williams, where she actually had the drought also.
French.
Yeah?
French.
Is it French?
Maritoglou is French.
Okay, Maritoglou is French. Okay. My bad. Okay, so he was able to get her back on track, and we're hoping that he can actually do this for Naomi Osaka, who has actually fallen hard on the floor since winning her last Grand Slam. So let's see how it actually goes. And the talk continues as we actually press it further. Quickly, as I'm trying to wrap it up, the talk continues about players still insisting that they play too many matches. Human Song is the latest. But the question a lot of people are asking, as we actually look at several indices in sports, is the fact that it doesn't make sense because you're asking for an arm and a leg as a player. Where does the money come from, aside from probably playing more matches? And that's the big question. If we were to get into some of the money talks, you get to see how much these squads actually spend. You can actually see that from their 2023 earnings, you can actually see how much these clubs actually spend. If we were to even press it further, you will get to understand that when you put that side by side with profits, then you begin to ask questions, pressing it even further, because amortization is something real. Of course, a lot of people might not even understand that amortization is the amount of money you have to pay, because there is so much debt in the books, on the books rather. There is so much going on at the same time, and you cannot afford, you're not as liquid as you claim to be. That is what usually happens. So you buy a player, you have to spread payments over a period of time to be able to ensure that these things actually reflect on the books, and you can actually keep PSR, because PSR is a word that has been used to try to balance up the earnings when it comes to football. That's profitability and sustainability rules. They've tried to do that with several other rules in football, but that hasn't really added up as we press it for that, because you look at these things, wages are some of the biggest yes.
In the budget of
yes, and the truth is this, the only people, now I mean this, the only people that get to enjoy the monies from football are the players. Save the players, those that work in the back room do not earn half as much as this. Those that, the groundsmen and others in that particular value chain don't earn as much as this. And the players are. But when it came to COVID, for example, when the players were being asked to take a pay cut, you saw how it was a contentious decision, because money. So when people begin to ask questions, because if they can actually help us with the final one as we're actually moving on, you actually see how much, this was even in 2017 now, you can actually see how much the players' average wage is when you put it side by side with other industries and how much they are actually earning. Remember when we spoke about Shehu Kuti talking about nurses and those that actually work in the health industry, how much are they earning compared to footballers?
Okay. So I think the number one, I would say the biggest solution to this matter is Balenciaga. I'm just joking there.
Okay.
The balancing act. But it's going to be difficult. You will never be able to balance it. You know why?
Wow.
It wasn't always the case. It was in the 60s the law changed that the wages of players should go up. It was not always like this. Their wages were deplorable, especially in England, until the laws changed in the 60s and they started putting more emphasis on them. But at the same time, it has now shown that television alone is not bringing as much money.
No, it's
because
not. No, it's not.
You're having other platforms, one. Secondly, you're also having the fact that the teams want to expand and want to attract the biggest players. So the biggest league falls short on this. But thirdly, you don't also want burnout of the stars.
But why is there no proper rotation? Because the squads are usually bloated. For example, Chelsea now. Normally, an average squad in the Premier League has over 30 players.
The reason why you cannot have proper rotation goes back to an Italian scientist called Vilfredo Pareto's principle, 80-20 rule, that says that the bulk of the star attraction of every football team will be a 20% bulk, and those people will play. That's why you had the likes of Lampard play most games in Chelsea when he was there. That's why you have the Rodri's injury now causing a lot of problems. So there will never be a balance, but you must try to strike the balance. It's even going to get worse.
I was going to say Rodri's injury because this conversation is one that it's almost as to what the trade-off will be. Like you mentioned, rightly said, you have to play more games to justify the big wages or to even be able to afford the big wages. But then it's at the expense of players. Now, I'm not sure if Rodri's knee injury on Sunday was as a result of course, being overworked. But I'm sure it had a contributory effect, whether or not it was during the time of play. So it's that trade. So would you rather have the big players, because now Manchester City are in a pickle trying to look for who will replace Rodri, bearing in mind his huge influence on the team. So it's that trade-off that they'll begin to think about. Would you have more games, make more money, but at the expense of your players, and then lose the essence
But the players are
of the
asking
beauty
for
of the
an
game?
arm and a leg.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, but
that's the point. Something must give. You're asking for. The agents would always ask for too much.
I understand,
And the question
but
is,
now the
who pays for that?
But now the players
Where does the money come from?
But now the players are also saying that they are being overworked. And to be
Will
fair,
the players
look at
agree for a
the
pay
schedule.
cut? Will they agree for a shaving? It's a big question.
Okay. Naomi Osaka returned in January from maternity leave, 4 Grand Slam champion, but this year she has not been able to, repeat the magic. And now, after sacking our coach, we said she now has, the French guy, as our coach, and she's hoping for the best. We can only wish both of them the best. She's in the Beijing Open.
Yes,
she's already in the second round of that tournament. But let's see whether working with former Serena Williams coach would do the magic. Now, injury. Kylian Mbappe is out of action. He has, a knee injury. You also have, what's his name, Varane, the World Cup French superstar, also retiring. But he will still be with Como, but he says he's retiring. Knee injury and all of that. He's 31. Then also Enzo Zidane, Zinedine Zidane's son, is also retiring. But he says in his own case, he wants to pay attention to family and also investment. As for the Carabao Cup, well, Liverpool, they were masterful. 5-1. That was quite impressive against West Ham. Manchester United, the question to ask is, that club seems to be taking one step forward, 2 steps backward under, Eric Ten Hag. So this is the challenge that we face with that club. But we'll see how they play. 8 games so far. They've managed to win how many? Okay, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.